kind of strange question you can ask yourself when you're struggling with anything, or if you're suffering in some way. If you are angry or sad or frustrated or whatever, is who is suffering? And you might think that's a dumb question and say, well, I'm suffering. Well then, who is I? Who is the I that suffers? And then you might say, well, it's me, and do the old hand on chest thing. But that's nobody. Hand on chest is not a person. So hand on chest suffers. It doesn't make sense. That happened to me. I was a bit frustrated today. And then it's like, well, who's frustrated? And I couldn't answer the question. And I would feel the same would happen to anyone really if they actually stop and ask, well, who is suffering? And if your only answer is I or me, well then who is I and who is me? And if you can't really point at who is suffering, then what value does the suffering have? What does it mean? Is it even worth acknowledging? Is it even real? Is it even worth getting upset over? It's a sort of strange question, but it might help, because the moment you start to get confused, the moment you sort of scratch your head and think, well, I can't find the sufferer. I can't locate this person who is suffering, or who is angry, or who is sad, or who is whatever, frustrated. If you can't locate the person who's suffering, then is the suffering even real? And what you'll find is it dissolves very quickly because you question its validity, you question the whole notion of it. It doesn't really make sense. It's kind of silly, really. There's just this feeling of suffering or frustration or whatever, but there's not really any entity that you can accurately point to who is feeling that feeling. It's just a feeling that seems to arise in the body somewhere, and then it sort of dissolves again, and that's it. Thanks for listening.